right, so here's simple cut list. So you will have two 24 inches. I've already got one of the sides assembled, so 24 inch. You will have four 22.5 inch. You will have four 21 inch. Again, I have one of the sides done. You will have three 19 inch and two 16.5 inch with the 15 degree bevel on one end. All right, that is for your side assembly, which is this piece, and for your seat assembly, which is this piece. I'm going to show you how to put those together right quick, and then we'll get on to cutting the slats. These are all 2x2s. You can buy 2x2s already cut. These are treated. What I did is I ripped 2x4s because it's cheaper. A 2x2 costs as much as a 2x4, and you can get two pieces of 2x4. So these were built for around $25, between $20 and $25 each chair. All right, so we're gonna try this. So what I do, this is your 24 inch piece. I'm gonna drill solid holes here. I don't have a bevel to cut that, so I just use the torque that I'm going to use for my screws. So the torque's got a little bit of a bevel in it, and it kind of gives a place for the heads of those screws to land. Take my 24, these are my two, what are these, 22.5? Yeah. I'll take my 22.5, which are my legs. I'll show you that real quick. 22.5. This is my 24. These are 3-inch number 10 screws. They got a 25-inch, number 25 torque head on. Start it in there. Lay it flat on my bench. Get a good grip on this. And I just barely set that screw in. And this is on all the screws that I do. Only screws I use are 3-inch and a 2-inch. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing with this leg. 19-inch piece should sit right between these two. If the boards want jacked a little bit. This is a 2x4, 3.5 inches tall, and I just cut it 1.5 inches wide, 2 inches wide, however wide you want to make it. All it is a spacer to give me a leg for the side. All right, take the same drill bit. Two pilot holes. Take my torque, cram it in that hole, and give that head of that screw somewhere to land so it doesn't split my wood. Measure up my 3.5 inches. Just like that. Give you an idea. I was saying, just so when you run your finger across it like there, my joints aren't perfect. I mean, you can sand all that down. It's outdoor furniture, people. It's made out of treated timber. It's gonna shrink up. So that is one of your sides. I already had one side built. We're gonna move on to something else here in a second. All right, so now we're gonna build the seat, or the seat pad, whatever you wanna call it. So it has to be 19 inches wide. So these two boards are 21, it's not the right ones. These two are 19, all right? These are gonna sit inside the 19. That'll go on the other side. So we're gonna drill two holes, just like we did before, in the end of the 19. Redneck countersinking, or Cajun countersinking, whatever you want to call it. I am in Louisiana. The noise behind me, here's a little, if it's annoying, sorry, but it's so hot, I'm not doing this without a fan on. So that's what you're hearing in the background if you're hearing any kind of background noise. Sink those a little bit. See, I've got a gap here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back that screw out. I'll pull those boards together and resync that screw. Now it's tight. Got a tight joint now. Since I'm not gluing this, and the main reason I'm not gluing it is I don't know how these are gonna hold up. Never had one. But if they don't, I can unscrew it, replace the wood, whatever I need to do. Okay, so this is just kind of a little extra here. So what I'm gonna do, I got a little sanding block. I'm just gonna ease the corners. And that's really all I'm gonna do to these. Just to keep it from being a really hard edge, because of the way I cut these, I might, sand over the flat one time. That's really all I'm gonna do. It's outside furniture, it's gonna change. But these are your pieces. This is the top of the back of the seat. These are your two sides that are going up. These are the two actual armrests / four legs of it. And this is the seat. So the front of this seat that's going to attach to these two legs, well, I had a tape measure. Here it is. At the front of the bottom, it's going to be 16 inches to the bottom. So we're going to make a mark at 16 inches here and here. So these are my two fronts. These are going to come up together and make the sides. So 16 inches. That's where the bottom of the seat is going to be. Easiest way to do this is actually to lay this down and stand your seat up. Gotta spin this around. Bear with me. That's the bottom. So we're gonna do the same thing that we've done on all the pieces before. We're gonna pre-drill 2 holes. Now, the problem with this is you do have 2 other screws coming through this. You just hope that you don't hit the other 2 screws. I gotta hurry up. I'm running my mouth. So you got 2 screws coming up this way and you're screwing in this way. So you could actually hit those screws. You could calculate it, figure out where those screws are. I'll run and gun. Hopefully I don't actually hit that. I usually assemble this on my table, but for the video I did it down here. I don't know why, but I could have done it on the table just as easily. That actually hit one of those screws, but it did bypass it and went on through it. You can use the wood battens like I use, or if you'd like to use strapping or webbing, whatever you want to call it, you could actually use webbing and make web seats on these. So, whatever you feel more comfortable with. All right, so that's our seat. So the back of this seat is going to be at 15, which kind of gives the seat a little cant. I'm hoping y'all can see this. Like I said, I am no video person, but I'm going to put that at 15. This one at 15. And that is to the bottom of this piece. and same with screws. Same thing. Like I don't hit those screws. And the countersink. I can go ahead and drive both of these screws all the way in. Got lucky again. I can drive this screw all the way in. Spin this around. Do my little countersink trick with my Porch. I would suggest getting a countersink bit. It would work. It would work a lot better. All right, mark that at 15. Drive that one home. Drive that one home. And the one I had to loosen up so I can hinge it. Drive it home. All right, so basically that is the seat. I can actually, I'm 250, 260, pretty sturdy. All right, teach you how to do the back. All right, so now we're gonna measure. I'm running low on battery, hoping I make it. Measuring 4 inches up. This is on the back of the seat, 4 inches. I'm gonna take my 16.5 piece with my 15-degree bevel, and the front of the bevel, the angle, the longest part, points forward. And it's gonna sit just like that, which is gonna bring it right up to this corner. First, what I've got to do though, I got to flip this chair over, and I've got to drill my holes for my screws to go into that piece. I have to drill them at that 15-degree angle. So my 4 inches is right at the tip of my finger. So I need to drill them here, but I need to drill them in at about a 15-degree angle. Find my 4 inches over here, which is right in the middle of my finger here. We're going to start one of these. And each one of these, I'm not starting both of them, because one will hit the screw or the gun. All right, we're going to flip this over. 16-inch piece went, and I should have drilled it in front of it, because that's how this piece goes. In front of it. If I'd have had the piece in front of the 4-inch mark, where I had them would have been fine. All right. I'm going to drill this one in. I'm going to pull this out because we're getting a gap. So these are not very firm in there. So you're like, how are you going to fix that? Well, that's why we have it set here. So we're going to drill one screw hole there. We're lining this back up with the back corner of this while I'm drilling this. Then we're going to put a hole here. This is going to firm up this back really good. Last piece to go in is a 19-inch piece across here. I'm going to spread it a little bit. All right, same thing. 2 holes. same 3-inch screws and 4 screws. That's it, folks. That is the skeleton of the chair. And like I said, I'm gonna come back and put 5/8 inch wooden slats all across this. But if you wanted to, you could do webbing across that. Back once I cut my 5/8 inch slats. Okay, final step. I have stained mine. I'm gonna stain everything. I have pre-drilled and countersunk my holes. All I got left to do, I've got a spacer, which is about 3/16 of an inch thick. There's the chair. So we take, these are 19 by 5/8, 3/4. I made these a little thicker than the last, the first ones I did, just to make them a little stronger. So these are down 2-inch screws. I'm not using a 3-inch. Sink them a little bit. Make sure I'm kind of got the same spacing. Countersink that a little bit. All right, so all I do, put my board on here, take my spacer, place it in here, line them up by eye pretty much. Take my 2-inch screws. And that's it, folks. So I work from the front back until I can't fit another board back there, and there can be a gap in the back. I'll show you how I start my top. I come up here on the back, line it up, give it a little bit of a reveal on the top so it's not completely flat up there. Sink that a little bit. Make sure I got my same kind of reveal on top. And what I mean by reveal, you can see this, but it stands a little proud of this piece. So it's a little bit of same process. All right, take 2-inch screws, get another one of my board slats. I like to use the boards that have a lot of knots in them on the back, because you really need the stronger ones on the seat. So if you do have some boards that have knots in them, don't throw them out. You can use them for the back, because your back support doesn't support nearly the weight that somebody's big rump is going to support. Take my spacer. Oh, get my impact with my torque in it. Put my spacer in between. Pull this up. Look at both sides. I like it. Hold it with some little force. Sink that just a little bit below the surface. Oop, that was a lot of blows. Like that. Pull your spacer out, do the next one. Now all I'm gonna do is run them down here, run them across. Takes about 19 of them. And that chair will be finished. Go back to the beginning of the video to see what it looks like.